Hey guys, what's up? It's Matt with 86 Gaming, and I just wanted to go over real quick the XFX RX 470 4GB edition. It is a pretty cool graphics card that comes in at a pretty cool price. You can find it on Amazon for a little bit cheaper. I got the specific one at Best Buy, which I believe is comes with the white fans that you can see behind me, and then some of the footage I've taken as well. A couple things to go over it. It comes with a 1236 core clock and 1750, I think. Yep, nailed it. 1750 memory clock, and that pretty much kind of covers the basic out of the box what it has. Some of the coolest things about it, you might be wondering, is it VR ready as an RX 470? Yes, AMD's RX 470s are VR ready, and they feature the liquid VR technology. The back comes with 3 DisplayPort 1.4s and 1 HDMI 2.0B, the latest standard in HDMI. Other than that, that's pretty much your connections in the back. It's all connected together and powered by one 6-pin rail and has very little power draw altogether. It features a low decibel mode, so if you aren't using it at all, then these fans won't be spinning, which I'll show you as well. That's a pretty neat feature, the 0 decibels, and something that's pretty cool. I wish more cards would kind of take part in, which you're seeing more of anyways. A couple things where I want to be critical about XFX here. While this is really cool to have hot swappable fans and fans that you can easily change out, it makes more sense to me to just have RGB control, or sell it with just black fans and then just sell an RGB fan later for people who want to customize the look of it. That's really my only critique on how these fans themselves are in here, because otherwise I was like, wow, this is really cool, but a lot of companies have started going RGB with it being such a fad of a way to design and build your PCs now. Altogether though, this is a pretty cool card. I'm pretty happy with it. It seems to run fine. I've run it through the new 3D Mark stuff, the Time Spy. I ran it through Firestrike. I've run it through Valley, Heaven, done all kinds of benchmarks with it, and it's great. If you're not using it, like I said, the fans are not on load. So a couple cool things to go over just about the RX 470 real quick. It's got the X-Connect technology, liquid VR, Crossfire, and of course AMD with their new Crossfire stuff. If you have 2 cards in there, you no longer really need a bridge anymore. I don't think any of the cards come with the option to put a bridge on them. You pretty much just crossfire them through the PCIs. FreeSync technology is great, especially if you have a monitor that supports FreeSync technology, like this one right here, the LG 27UD88 does support it. So I'll just turn on FreeSync in that and then go into the Crimson software and I'll turn on FreeSync in there, and boom, there you are. So it supports OpenGL up to 4.2, I believe, 4.5 support, and OpenCL support as well. It's Vulkan ready, of course. AMD's new software technology that just increases performance. Some people claiming to get 20 to 30, which is quite huge, and I'm not sure how true that is using Vulkan in games. And that's something that's really cool. But altogether, just kind of cover and talk about some of what XFX brings to the table with this. It's pretty fascinating to me. But there's a lot of you that'll say, well, if this was $240, why wouldn't I just go ahead and get the RX 480 for that price? You're paying for the aftermarket of the effects and the nice things that they add to it, such as the hot swap fans and the ability to customize fans. It's just kind of your preference. You'll see that they have a logo that's illuminated white, and if you're going to pick a color that you can't change, I guess white is the best way to go because it's more of an accent light in the case if you're doing something to show. So I like that about it. But I wish that, again, they had some sort of GUI you could go in and change the color and it wasn't a static white color, because there are some people that are going to want a different color, especially if you're paying the price that you could pay for the next better card. Another thing about the 472, with a little bit of overclocking, you can kind of tweak it to the point to where it's a reference style RX 480. So that's something to consider as well if you're into overclocking. If you're not somebody that's comfortable with overclocking your own cards, then I don't recommend doing that at all, because you could just find a lot of frustration. Not necessarily break it, because there's a lot of fail safes and safety features in them nowadays that keep you from destroying your card. It'll throttle and cut down and all that, but if you do a little bit of overclocking, you can achieve the performance of an RX 480 with an RX 470. So for the same price, that's just kind of up to you if that's something you want to do and still have the extra features of the aftermarket heatsink and hot swap fans and the cool stuff that XFX adds. It's a very sharp looking card. I think it looks good. I would probably paint the shroud myself and then put different fans into it, and that's something that's really neat. Like I said, that they offer different fan options that you can put in there, whether it's red LEDs, just straight black fans, the white ones like this, and hopefully they'll grow and do some more stuff with that as well, because that's just pretty cool. The GCN architecture is something to kind of talk about, I guess, with the RX 470s as well. Because what I'm running this on is actually an i3, which is a dual-core processor. There's a lot of you like, oh my god, why are you using a dual-core processor in a graphics card like this? Well, the new GCN architecture, which is on Gen 4, allows you to do this because there's a lot less requirement for the processor to need to be anything spectacular whatsoever. So on a smaller build like this, if I'm just using an i3 processor, that's fine because the GPU's handling a buttload of the work without worrying about bottlenecking. It's got a lot more, it's just a lot more efficient altogether, and it handles its own business separate of the processor. Now, I'm not saying that a better processor, an i5 or an i7, would definitely complement it well, but you're probably not looking to get too much out of it. I compared some benchmarks of other people using the RX 470 to my own, and they only got so many frames and slightly higher scores than I did using the i3 processor that I'm using. So if that tells you anything, the card is standalone on its own, just badass altogether, and that's something that's good, especially for the price. Like I said, these range seemingly from about $210 to $250 depending on where you buy it from. And just to note that if you aren't interested in the fans, or you're waiting to see what better fan options they come out with, Amazon has the black fan version. This one's from Best Buy, and it was about $240. And the main purpose of this was I wanted to finish this build and test it against a dual-core build, the i3 build that I have here, and finally get this out of the background of the videos, because I'm sure you've seen it in the background of a lot of videos since I unboxed it and looked at it. And I'm ready to sell it, have it gone, and start putting into some more build logs and doing some other things as well. So that's what I'm aiming to do with it, and I'm actually pretty impressed with everything it's been able to do. It is a nice contender in the card market. Its price across the board, not XFX alone. When you pay for XFX, you get something a little bit different with the hot swap fans, which it's just cool. It's cool, but like I said, you know, why not just RGB fans where people have the ability to control it? But across the board, I think that it has a weird price point when it's so close in price to the 480, and the 480 is just an out of the box a little bit better. So something to consider with that. And if you're looking to play some games, you can do pretty much any kind of game that you want to do that's out on the market right now. There are AAA titles at 4K. It's not going to play that very well. You're going to be looking at sub 30 frames if you're trying to play at 4K on some of the new AAA titles for sure. Maybe instead of going ultra, you'll go high and you'll do 1080p or 2K 1440, and you'll get better results gaming that way. Because once I cranked this up to 4K and I went in there and I forced it across the board to be 4K, got some invalid results from using Fire Strike. They didn't like that too much, I don't think, but once you crank it up to that, you'll notice the difference. You lose a lot of frame rates, there's a lot of tearing, even with FreeSync on and LG's own anti-tear on. Still get some tearing, some stuttering, and just low frames altogether. I think when I had it on 4K running heaven at full tessellation and just trying to maximize everything I could, I was getting, the lowest point was 8 frames per second, but it wasn't horrible. I could still see well on that. But when I ran Time Spy, of course, trying to run at 1440p and checking out how that result was, it was a little discouraging, a little disappointing. But the card is ultimately not for 4K, 2K. It's meant to be played high definition, which is 1080p. So if you're running 1080p, most people are still playing 1080p games, and that's perfectly fine. I still play games at 1080p. It's just a lot easier, I think, to play that way. And it once again depends on your title. So if you're not playing a game that's that demanding, if you're playing something like Rocket League, you really don't need to worry about that. You could probably play 4K Rocket League and be fine, but there are some games, like I said, that will be demanding, and 4K 2K is not the way to go with this card. Anyways, guys, get subscribed, like if you like it, didn't like it, then didn't like it button. Leave me a comment if you have any questions below. And XFX, this is a really cool card. I'm pretty I think it's pretty exciting, and I hope to see different stuff. This hot swap fan feature, that's pretty cool. Let's see if you come up with something else, some RGB colors or something, or the ability to change the logo from white to another color. That would be really cool. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking it out. Get subscribed. I'll see you in the next video I do.